This place is just awe-inspiring. It's quite like nothing or any place I've ever been to before. It's 9 islands split east to west. So you've got green islands on a volcanic base. It's like going back in time, Jurassic. It's sensational. If anyone who hasn't visited these islands before, I thoroughly recommend it. I mean, it's my first time here, and it's just been eye-opening every single time. Something new to discover every single day. So the main island is Sao Miguel. The main congregation of islands is in the central area. Each island is very, very different, and some of them are a lot more volcanic than others. And I think that's the greatest joy, is just getting out there and discovering the idiosyncrasies between each island.
I had this plan all devised in my head. I was gonna look local here one day, and then I had the weather all lined up, and I was gonna look at the 70 one day, and then the northeast corner. And it was like, well, there go my plans right out the window. Well, he just flew in. I wanted to fish here really bad, like 3 days or something. Look around here local. There's a couple places I just love here. Seen some giant, some of our biggest fish right here. And then fish reports from here haven't been so good. And then while we're on the plane, our phones are just blowing up. Boom, boom. This guy saw 3, this guy saw 5, this guy saw 9, this guy saw 11. So we're gonna travel. Now we're gonna run to Horta, Pico. We're gonna look around those 2 islands and wind up in Horta tomorrow night. So weather looks pretty decent. We ought to have 1 good day of fish and maybe 2 before the weather hits us. And then we'll just have to play it by ear for a day or 2. But for right now, we're loading everything up. We're battening everything down. The Rupert's already loaded up. They're all ready to go. We're going to farm out of here and hopefully run into them. If we leave at 4 a.m., I can start running about 5. So we'll probably take us about 6 hours total to get there. So we'll be fishing by 10, and I want to look at a couple areas going into there. I just don't want to charge in over there and probably be in the main bite zone by 1 o'clock or something.
It's hard to describe. These are exotic islands right in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the Atlantic, all the way up in 3940 latitude north. The largest island is the island that we're at now, which is San Miguel. This is the most populated island. There's nice marina facilities here in all of these islands. I think this island alone has multiple marinas, so very, very good infrastructure.
I'd have to say my favorite thing besides the fishing here is the architecture. Walking in the streets with all the cobblestone and all the designs is really neat, and the people are very welcoming and friendly. It's a very, very great place.
It's, I'd say, a little more modern and civilized than some other places that we go. I know from fishing on a charter boat here in years past that you got a lot more restaurants, stores, provisions are easier, flights are easier, there's a lot more people, it's a lot less third world, you know, it's a lot more modern here. But you fish in some of the most gorgeous backdrops that you could ever imagine, to be blue marlin fishing, and feel very, very lucky to have the opportunity to do that.
Like I said, San Miguel's the biggest one, so it's probably got the most going on. It's the most visited by tourists, but the other 8 islands are just sensational, and those are the ones that you really want to get out to explore. So like 185 nautical miles between all of the 9 islands. That's about a day and a half sailing for us on bad company. That's the great thing about yachting, I think, about support vessel. You never know what's going to come. You never know what tomorrow's going to bring. So, you know, depending on where the fish are at, depending on what Anthony say, depending on what Steve says, everything can change in a heartbeat. That's the only constant, right? That's the thing, change. So getting up early, getting the guys going, and then following them, being the support, arriving so that when they come in later on in the evening, we're all set up. That's our job, and it's great fun. That's all part of it. I love it.
Morning, boys. Here we go. Look at this. Cheer on. So when we got here, this trip 2, Lake 16, we landed here in San Miguel, where the mothership and the Spencer is. So we ended up running to Horta, which is typically, you know, where the fishing is right around September, late August, September. So the mothership picked up and ran over, and the Spencer ran over, and then we fished there for, I think, 2-3 days.
My biggest pressure is when all these resources and I make a move and it's a bad one. Absolutely, man, it eats you up, you know, and there's no givens, there's no guarantees in anything you do, you know. And what's really hard for me here, I try and shrink the ocean down as much as I can. The sonar shrinks it down, my imagery sinks it down. And what's really crazy is the first 2 years, the imagery worked here perfect. I could make a 40-mile move and catch the fish. And the second year here, money, just absolute nails, just drive right to them. Last year, I looked like a dummy driving around to spots and there was nothing there day after day after day. It was horrible, man, and that feeling is just, it's the worst. And then this year, you know, I've been doing that, like I said, for 30 years, so I did it again and made me look like a dummy again. So I just had to put that away and just go fishing.
All right, well, a lot of things going on. We are 40 miles from Pico and then Faial, which is Horta. Lots of anticipation. This year, Azores has been a little slow, and we were, you know, trying to play mental gymnastics on, you know, whether we reposition to Canaries or maybe Cape Verde, but we stuck it out here, and it seems to be the right decision because yesterday the fleet raised over 30 fish. We have a 14-day trip, but we have some weather coming in tomorrow, the next 2 days actually, so we're not sure if it's fishable. High hopes for this trip. Our last trip was a little slow. I think we caught 3 or 4. So really, really anxious to see a nice blue marlin, so here we go.
The Azores is definitely a super special place, kind of majestic, you know. You got these beautiful, beautiful, lush green islands in the middle of the North Atlantic with the Portuguese culture, you know, makes it really special. And then in the water, there's an oasis of life. There's all sorts of dolphins, whales, tuna, bluefin tuna, yellowfin tuna, big-eyed tuna swimming around, and you really never know what you're gonna see. It's kind of a cool feeling, not knowing, you know, what the next thing you're gonna see is. Sometimes there's a lot to look at through the day, sometimes there's not. when there's the baits around, you know, there's tons and tons of birds here. A lot of your fishing time spent looking for birds, waiting for them to stop sitting down and go up and start all feeding. It gives you a good fishy feeling when you see hundreds of birds diving and looking, and you know, the amount of bait and life that's here under the water kind of correlates with how much bird life and sea life there is on top. Probably some of the best bird life there is, you know, literally hundreds and thousands of shearwaters can be all going down on a bait ball at one time. It's a pretty cool spectacle to see.
4 o'clock in the morning we pick up and we jam 160 miles. And we get up there, and we were always told the north wind kind of shuts it off, and here comes the north wind, and it was blowing pretty good, and there just wasn't much there, man. There was no bait on the bank at all, no birds, no porpoise, no nothing. And you know, you might not get as many shots. Sometimes you do. I mean, we had the best fishing of our tour here for certain on big fish, just lots and lots of them. But even when you don't get too many shots, you always stand a chance of catching a giant one.
We've been chasing these trophy fish all over the world. I mean, the year one, we went to Australia, went to Brazil, went to West Africa, went to East Africa. You know, we've been a lot of places. The only big body of water that we really haven't explored is really the South Pacific. So we're hoping to do that starting next year with the 175. This world tour fishing is absolutely addictive. It's a different sense of adventure. It's a different sense of fun, if you will. And of course, being in these locations, the primary objective is to chase giant marlin. So knowing that when you put a lure in the water, even when it's slow, you can catch your lifetime fish.
Yeah, so the difference between Faial and the town of Horta and Sao Miguel and the town of Ponta Delgada is mostly to do with the population, I guess. There's a lot more people on San Miguel, it's the biggest island. Whereas Faial, historically it was more of that yachty stopover crossing the Atlantic, heading from the Caribbean to Europe or vice versa, Europe back to the Caribbean. And you'd stop off in Horta, rest, recuperate, pick up fuel, provisions and move on. And it's still got that vibe. It's still low key and still not so much tourism. But the actual town, you can see it. It's starting to bubble. It's beautiful. It's almost untouched, but I think it's a little bit like going back in time compared to San Miguel, maybe how San Miguel was 15 years ago, something like that. But ultimately, on the fishing side of things, you know, it's 50-50. Obi can answer that and the fishing guys can answer that much better than me, but wherever the fish bite, that's where we go. And that's a beautiful thing about having the support vessels, just chase them wherever they are. Actually, maybe we're chasing them or are they chasing us? I don't know. Maybe they're chasing the lures on the Spencer and then we're chasing the Spencer. So it's kind of like catch-22.
Today was a warm-up. Like a old carbureted car, it takes a while to warm up. So that's what today is, a warm-up.
Yeah, a little bit of extra effort.
Sao Miguel could be the place where they're at, you know, there's just absolutely no way of telling. He said they could bite like crazy here again today, you know, you just never know. He said it's a little bit of a good sign that there was one wave. He said there could be more waves coming. Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of pressure when you're not catching, and it doesn't really let up too much even when you're in them, you know, it's pretty ongoing through the whole trip. See you in a couple hours.
All right, you're free.
never been here before, I would urge you to come see this place. It's truly one of a kind. There's so many islands. We've only been to a few of them because the way that I fish, but I like to get real comfortable in an area, but I want to stretch it out a little bit more. You know, I don't ever want to quit coming here. It's absolutely stunning.
Raincoat works.
Might have been 2 fish.
We got one.
Might have been 2.
Really?
Yeah. Just finished up our first real day of fishing. A little bit choppy, a lot of rain. I don't know, probably 25 knots of wind, 4 to 6 foot, maybe a little bit more. Caught a white marlin and a blue marlin. Saw one other on the sonar that I couldn't get on. Pounding, going up swell, and had a good sonar mark and was moving really fast. I kept losing it in the big seas, and we never really got on it. I never could re-find it, but it was for sure one. So I think we saw 2 today. So it's good start. Weather tomorrow's a little bit better, but it's from a bad direction. I guess they don't like that north wind. So keep rolling with it, man, and hopefully we'll come across a couple, maybe find a bigger one.
I met Paul about 4 years ago here and knew about his chairs and got to know him and understanding how his grandfather immigrated here and was building boats, and he's got the lineage in sport fishing, and the man is just a wealth of knowledge from the keel up. It's pretty impressive that a guy can know that much about boats and you know, putting together a chair the way that he did, as fast as he did, and his little nuances that he had snuck in there, I guess. Beautiful chair, awesome guy, so fun to talk to, very knowledgeable. I learned a lot just hanging out with him, fishing the day.
We installed Paul's chair on the Spencer in Cape Verde, and we've caught, I think, 100 fish since then. I told Paul exactly what I wanted. The man he's brilliant. The way his mind works, you know, he's an inventor. So he immediately went to work. He studies my movements, my foot positions, and I've been fishing since I was a little kid. So I don't wear any gloves. I don't wear any shoes. That's just the way I grew up fishing. So, and he built the chair the way I wanted him to build it. So it is strong. It's at the ideal angle for the way that I like to have leverage in the chair. It gives me the flexibility to do different styles. So the chair has been wonderful. We have the second one now installed on the 50. So looking forward to fishing that boat and that new chair too. I told Paul, hey, you got to come out and fish with us, and I need to get you in that chair. And fishing's a little slow, and he came out for 2 days and we hooked one. He got in the chair, this thing screamed out 400 yards. We had it on for, I think, more than 10 minutes, so it was nice. We got nice videos of Paul being in his own chair, and that was a really special sight for me to see Paul using his own chair, so that was pretty cool.
Awesome, man. There's the man right there. These things. What's wrong with those things? No, they don't. Stay on for a moment like this. All right. It was an awesome fish. Good job, boys. Right on. Good job, Paul.
Yeah, it was a great day today on the Bad Company. And first time I used the chair. Hooked up one, fought it for a while, pulled the hook, and the chair worked great. Really happy with it, and just like it should. This is the first time I caught a fish in this new version grander chair that I made. It was awesome. Really a sick piece of equipment. Awesome weapon.
Pursuing the big marlin, it can be frustrating, and there can be long days, and there's plenty of days where you don't see anything, and it's just something that I've grown to be accustomed to, marlin fishing, and it doesn't bother me because I know that at any time it's going to pile on and it's game on, and so everybody's, you know, it's kind of weird because you could be halfway asleep, bored to death, and then you see a dorsal fin pop up behind the lure, and it's game on, and you know, your instinct takes over and you do your job, and the adrenaline rush is like no other. And that's why I'm here. I've always been into you know, doing dangerous things, so it's pretty exciting, you know.
Well, it's Sunday. It's day 5 of this trip. It's been pretty slow. A few fish caught around. We've had 2 bites. We caught a 500 and lost a 500. Today we came back out to the Azores bank, and so far there's been 2 fish caught here. You just have to be the chosen one and, you know, put in the time. We got Paul Scopinich out with us again today. We'll see what happens the next couple of days. If it doesn't bite here, we might just shuffle right back to San Miguel. We have a friend there that's fishing, so if it bites there, we might make the 150 nautical mile run back over there. But it's definitely a more challenging season in Azores, and you know, you get so spoiled here. But this is no doubt an off year. So was last year. But it seems like this year could be even a little slower than last year. So there's something going on up here in the North Atlantic here. But high hopes. You know, that's the thing about travel fishing and fishing in, you know, these amazing waters. At any given time, this very, very special fish can come out of nowhere, and you just gotta be always, you know, ready to go, and you don't want to miss that opportunity. So we still got a long ways to go. We got another 9 days of fishing or so. So anything can happen. Wish us luck.
So, you know, as you're driving around here, you know, sometimes it's hard to stay focused, you know, and you know, keep the energy level up and keep the positive attitude. But you got to work just as hard or harder than when they're biting. And 2 days in a row, our good friend Diogo told me, Steve, I hooked a monster fish 2 afternoons in a row, and it made me feel bad, but I told the crews, man, okay, load up. Here we go again. Well, we took off and jammed up here, and the next day they were pretty much gone. There was a few left, and for the 3 days we were here, I think we caught one and hooked another one, pulled it off. Saw a few more on the electronics, but it didn't pan out the way that we wanted. And really, we didn't find any bait, really, in the 3 days we went up here. We found a couple little patches of bait, but not much. I mean, all the spots that typically really hold the bait really well, there was nothing. It was dry. So one of our friends back at Sao Miguel, where we left from, he fished 4 days, and out of those 4 days, he saw 1 big fish every day. Out of 4 days, he fished 3, and he saw 1 big fish every day. A lot of bait there, a lot of tuna there. Here, there's nothing, man. There's not any birds or anything. It's not like the National Geographic moment that you expect when you hear the Azores. And so we're going to make a move, whether it's wrong or not. We're going to jam back down there, and if it's no good there, we'll turn around and run back.
Last 6 days of fishing, we actually ran 150 miles to Horta, and then we ran 150 miles back. And because it's so far north, we do get weather patterns that come in. Usually we lose a few days every year that we're here due to weather patterns that come in.
Really, so the Azores it's a known place to have big fish. This year was a little bit slower than some years. Numbers-wise, but through the fleet, there definitely was some big ones seen, and it's really exciting. You know, big fish fishing. You got to have a lot of patience. You got to be willing to put your time in and come back with nothing a lot of days, and that's what makes it so special to see or catch a big marlin. Is, you know, the amount of time that you got to put in and how hard you got to try, and you got to be focused all the time, ready for that big one to come. You can't be slacking off. You got to be kind of on your game, even though you might have to go fishing for 5 or 6, 7, 10 a month, you know, to be able to see a big marlin. But when it does come up, you want to make sure that your stuff's right and that you can capitalize on the opportunity when it comes.
Obviously, we're looking for birds. You know, they're searching too for food, and we're looking for all the apex predators that are mixed in with them. The concentration of birds, wild tuna action, and then in between, just the searching birds, and there's marlin mixed in everywhere. It's crazy.
We're actually at the same latitude as San Francisco, so it gives you an idea how far north we are. But because how the water sits up here, both in terms of the Gulf Stream pushing the water, as well as during the summertime, how the high pressure sets up, it's just an amazing place, full of sea life. There's a lot of mammals here too, all types of different whales and dolphins. There's just all kinds of life here.
Fishing didn't seem very consistent. There was a couple fish here, a couple fish there, so we spent a good bit of time moving around and trying to find the best little areas and spots. Even though they're always changing, you know, you kind of move around and you never know when you're going to land on them or when a big one's going to come up.
Actually, I was part of National Marine Fisheries Service highly migratory species. I was on their advisory panel, and there's all these different locations that they call them essential fish habitats, and one's a breeding ground, one's a nursery, one's a feeding station. And I truly believe this is a feeding station. There's a tremendous amount of food here, and these fish move through here, and they just, you see when you catch one, they're just fat. They're fatter than me. I mean, they're almost square, they're so big. They're just giant, thick, beautiful looking fish. They're eating really well, and probably before they take off to someplace else. But this is definitely one of those feeding grounds. Yeah, dog.
The two fish that we boated early in the world tour, the pair of 900s, we boated a 907 or 910. That was here at San Miguel.
That could happen at any second. Catch the biggest fish of your life.
happened here a little bit. I think we didn't get a bite for 3 or 4 days, and boom, this giant climbs on out of nowhere. But the boys were ready, so we capitalized on the opportunity, and was lucky enough to capture that fish.
I saw it at the same time that Steve did, and he called out. I was already at the reel, and there was just a mass of water moving off the head of the fish, and its dorsal wasn't even up yet. And so I just wound the lure down, dumped it into free spool, and just waited for it. And it grabbed it, and I just, dropped it down, scull it, and we're off to the races.
Finally pulling back. Finally pulling back.
James was like, "Here, you take the gloves." I said, "No, James, that thing's only like 700 pounds, so you grab it." And I didn't get a good look at it until I was trying to tag it, and then I looked at it and said, "Well, actually, I think we should probably gaff this one because it was pretty wide."
Grabbed the leader the first time, and it did this big jump right at the side of the boat, like a jaw-dropping moment, I think, for everybody on the boat. It was pretty exciting, kind of give you a little bit of, get your nerves going. You see a fish that's 4 or 5 or 6 times your size there in the water. Anthony got the leader to the boat really fast. I think he fought it for 9 or 10 minutes or something, and the fish has got so much life and so much power.
Pretty fat, pretty long. Pretty fat! Bigger than 850, Steve!
When you're on the leader, you're not necessarily the most focused on the fish, but what you're doing with your hands, what's happening around you, the leader behind you, you're focusing, and a little mistake with that could be detrimental to the wire man. So definitely a lot of focus with it. And a lot of excitement, adrenaline's going, big fish, and so beautiful. We got lucky, we caught it on a really calm day. The sun was up, you got a great look at it. You just see the thing in the water, and every movement of the tail, you could just the smallest tail kick is so much power. It's pretty, kind of hard to describe the feeling of being able to pull on something like that.
job, boys.
Open up a little.
Let me see it, James.
Wicked, guys.
Nice, boys. Nice. Fucking epic. That's awesome. Solid fish, boss man.
You know, we went, I think we went 3 days without a bite at all. And we got some good intel, and we made like a 160-mile move and didn't catch anything the first afternoon we got here, you know, and getting a little bit sad about everything. And then bam, you know, we catch a, you know, a really, really nice one. I'm not certain how big it was. We heard numbers from, you know, people that are reliable sources. Fishermen that have caught plenty of fish that size was well over 1,000 pounds, you know, and we talked about releasing it. We were going to put a tag in it, and then, you know, it started jumping around on the leader, and we got to see the girth on the thing and everything. It's just like, oh my gosh, okay, we're going to take this one. And then the hook pulled out. So it'll still be here next time we come.
It came off, but that's all right because it's going to produce more fish, and, you know, hopefully we'll catch it again when it's bigger.
It's been great. This trip this year is a little slower than normal, but we did catch one of our largest World Tour fish. I think it was probably number 3, maybe number 2. The one that we caught here last year was noticeably bigger, but this fish was a nice, hefty one. So very happy to see that fish, and also happy that we ended up letting it go too. I'm talking about, you know, die with memories, not dreams. This is just good job, boys. Just incredible. So although it's our 4th year, it's the first time we actually anchored outside the marina, and it's just a lot closer to our fishing spots. We've been fishing anywhere from 15 to 25 miles from our anchorage. So from the marina, you add another, I think, 12 miles or something like that. Good job. You finally did it live. Good job on the leader, James. That was awesome. It was perfect.
Boat is definitely got a piece of my heart. We've had so many incredible adventures on this boat, and you know, it's like a big camping trip in the middle of the ocean. You know, how cool is that?
So, you know, obviously the 175 is under a heavy warranty period again. I think this is the 3rd. We did South Africa, we did Dubai, and now she's back to Cape Town, back to South Africa. And it's one thing after the other. So, you know, we are kind of on this vessel, on the 150, just waiting to see how it all unravels.
World Tour is supposed to end right now. We're going to try to push it out into next year and a half. It really depends on the 175, which has been very challenging, very troubling, very stressful, and so hopefully it gets done and we can have a nice year next year to explore the Pacific. My whole plan here is to circumnavigate the world. I want to feel the oceans under my feet on a boat. I want to see the currents. I want to see the ocean. So Lake 17 is supposed to be Brazil. It's all subject to change, of course, based on the 175 completion.
Yeah, I keep hearing this is the last trip of the 150, and I like this boat, man. This boat's been a workhorse. This thing has not missed a beat. It's gotten us through some stuff. It's brought us to some places. I love this boat, man, and the memories on this thing, you know, and the friendships and camaraderie and bad weather, good times. We've seen some places on this, man, and it's going to be really sad if it does go away, and probably will. And I hope it goes to a really good home, because this thing's a beast, man. It's been good to us.
If the 175 gets completed and Darman come to the table and fix a lot of the engineering issues that we've seen on that boat, then hopefully we'll get out of there and get that boat over to Brazil for January. So Anthony and the fishing guys can fish there in January and February. But if that doesn't happen and 150 needs to get its tail over there, haul ass, we're ready to do that. So yeah, whilst this could be the last trip for the 150, at the same time, it could just be the beginning of a new adventure.
For me, where does the thrill of the chase come from? So it is absolutely in your DNA. From the time I was a little kid, it's all I wanted to do was fish. As soon as I got exposed to it, and even I can see it in my grandchildren now. I've got this one little granddaughter, and she's just ate up with it. And if she catches a fish and you unhook it, while you're unhooking it, she wants another fishing rod. She doesn't want to stop. She's just, and it's natural. It's just what's inside of her. It's what was inside of me. It's just something that's inside of you.
I've always been around the water. I grew up on the beach in California. I moved to Hawaii pretty much right out of high school. Surfed my ass off, living under my truck, chasing waves and fishing at the same time. But fishing is, keeps me connected to the ocean. It's where I feel comfortable, and it's where I belong. That's it.
So one of the things that Anthony's been real passionate about, and we've been doing a lot more of, is satellite tagging these fish, you know, and if anybody says they come from here and they go there, it's just a guess. And you know, it's not even a good guess, really, because it's impossible. You could just as easily throw a dart at a board and have just about as much success as you would without getting this information that we're getting. So we're putting two types of tags in. We're putting a tag in that's on like a 4-foot leash, one of them, and as the fish comes up to the surface, it sends data and we can track it that way. Another one's archival. And that one, at the end of a year, the thing pops up, it downloads all the data, it tells us every place it went, the depths that it were at, when they were at, and what time of day, and tracks exactly where they were. So through all this research, you know, we're hoping to be able to just figure out a little bit more about these creatures and what's important to them and where they go, and you know, for the conservation part of it, help out with the conservation.
Great job. What a powerful fish.
That's just me being a fisherman. I get excited when I get bit by a calico bass at Catalina Island. I get excited when I get bit by a tarpon in Florida. You fishermen know, it's hard to explain that. But that blue marlin, when it comes up, and every one of them have different body shapes, they look different, they have different colors, they have different gymnastic moves, their behaviors are different. They're just ultra majestic, and I just have such deep admiration and respect for them. Now, I'm a hunter. We hunt for them, but that doesn't mean that we need to be disrespectful. We need to also give back a little bit and try to understand this animal a lot more. We have this unique optic because we're seeing the species in multiple oceans and hemispheres. So it gives us a unique perspective on their behavior. But every one that I see, it's like the first one. So I hope that never goes away. Doesn't get any prettier than this. It turns pink right there.
It's kind of like a fairy tale, you know. We had our ups, we had our downs, we had our days earlier in the year in Ascension and Cape Verde where the fishing was lights out, and we had our days Ascension, Cape Verde, and here where the fishing was slow. But I'm definitely grateful. I've really made some great friends that hopefully will be lifelong friends, you know. That's one of the important things to me, is being able to make friends, meet new people, you know. It's not just about what you catch for me, because if your happiness depended on what you catch, I think you'd be disappointed a lot, you know. It's got to be more than that. You got to have fun while you're doing it, you got to laugh, and you got to enjoy your time. We try our best, but what you catch is kind of a bonus, you know. Fishing's about a lot more than what you bring in at the end of the day. Spending quality time with good friends and laughing, telling jokes, having good food, and enjoying your time, and enjoying these beautiful places that we're so fortunate to be able to go and enjoy and experience.
Oh man, why we come back to the Azores is, you know, you look at this, the beauty of the place, and people are also nice. You know, the camaraderie here is insane. All the fishermen, everybody gets along really, really well and try to help everybody out. A gentleman that we met here, Diogo, super cool guy, fisherman around here, local guy. He actually told us the big fish were biting down here. That's why we came charging down here. Well, he invited us out to dinner, and they do a special, it's like an event where they prep all this meats, and I think it's potatoes and stuff, and they dig a hole in the ground and they let the volcanic heat cook it for like 8 hours. They cover it all up. And what's it called? Cozido? Yeah, it's a cozido.
This is a very typical dish from the Azores. As you guys know, we have a lot of volcanoes, and here we cook our food in some holes, slow cooking by our volcanoes. So, as you guys can see, we have a lot of ingredients here. We have cow meat, we have pork, we have chicken, and we also have some vegetables. And the biggest trick that my father teach me is like do the right layers in the right sequence, because different kinds of meat and ingredients takes different times to cook. Like that we cook our cuisine. I will show you guys later how we put it in the hole. The food is in the pot, it's locked, well locked. Now we have a big bag and we put in the hole.
We're gonna go up there and undig it with them, and then we're gonna go travel to this restaurant. We've got us a beautiful place to sit up there and eat this cozido.
Okay, where is it?
It's in the hole, it's right there.
And the third one is where we have our pot.
You have the lock?
The lock is still. Oh yeah! It's locked.
You wanna get the pot?
Nice.
All right.
You're gonna pick with me.
All right.
All right, baby.
Jeez, it's a lot of food.
Jeez.
It's a lot of food.
Man, I'm very happy. We just come back from the cozido thing. Very happy because it was my first time doing it alone. I normally do it with my dad. That dish was taught to my dad by my grandfather, and he taught me too. But today was my first time alone, and it went very good. Everyone enjoyed the dish and the cozido, and was very nice. It was very nice time. After a long day in the sea, it was very good to have that meat. The biggest trick of the cozido that my dad teach me, beside of course the ingredients, the some layers and other tricks that he told me, but the most important one is the dedication, the emotions that we put on the things we do. And like going out fishing that I just loved, we should do a cozido the same way, with passion. We should give everything we have. So when we do that, normally magic happens. Or we catch a fish, or we have a great cozido to eat.
Showing your driving, right?
So you have no fishing crew members?
Thank you for the calories.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
We will see you soon.
Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Okay? A little sadness here. A little sadness. Didn't feel this way in the previous years. I think that there's a feeling of transition. Although the 175 is completely torn apart right now with a big hole in its deck and about 300 other things on the list to do. My feeling is she's going to be ready. And she is. Most of our time, probably 80% of our time for the World Tour next year is going to be on the 175, going from Brazil to Galapagos and all throughout the South Pacific. So this has been really my primary home. 150 days a year for the last 3.5 years. More so than any one spot in my life for the last 3.5 years. So it just feels like I left home a little bit. It's been a good boat. Real good boat. She did her job. Onward, upward, they say.
Oh, what a beautiful spot to fly.